welcome everybody. We've got Collegiate iRacing League action coming up right ahead here. Season opener for Formula Collegiate here at Suzuka. My name is Dan Banner, also known as Mr. Danner, joined alongside Jordan Humber as well as Edward Sanchez here in the commentary booth. Gentlemen, how are we doing?
I am excited to be here. Got a great race to watch today, especially for a season opener. It's going to be an exciting one.
And Edward,
Yeah, I'm really excited. I mean, this is the first time in the booth, so gonna learn a lot from y'all. But I'm more excited as a super formula. I mean, like I've always dreamed of racing these. I can't myself, so I love to watch. So yeah, it's gonna be exciting.
definitely going to be a good time all around. Of course, we are up on the line for 2 sprint races for our season opener. Here, going to be hopping onto qualifying in a very, very short moment, as we do see some of the drivers in their practice session, of course. But of course, kind of the recap of what we can be expecting here in these races. We have a borderline 30-car field to start things off, and I'm guessing going based off of our last semester's results, we might have ourselves a little bit of Ball State domination once again, but we could be up for a surprise. What are you thinking about this?
Absolutely. Like you said, Ball State University, they've got 4 drivers in here today and a lot of big names there that we've seen before in the past seasons coming back today to really set the tone going into this season.
Absolutely. And Edward, any thoughts on it?
I mean, the only thing I could say is like get the show on the road. Like I cannot wait to see how
Fair
these
enough.
drivers are gonna be racing tonight. I mean, this is the first points race right of the season, so we'll see. It's gonna be a make or break for people here.
Yeah, to bring up the point system and how things are going to work today for the, or not just today, but for the entire season itself. Very similarly to Formula One, there is a limit to how many points actually get brought per race. No matter how many cars are in the field, you need to get into that top 10 to score points. If you do not get into the top 10, 11 and lower, I'm sorry, you go home with nothing. So it is absolutely cutthroat. Only the top drivers at that very moment are going to score for their school. With the caveat being, if you do have multiple colleges or multiple universities, or multiple drivers rather, from the same university, only the top driver of that school actually scores points. So let's say we do have an instance where it's 4 Ball State drivers in the top 10. Only whoever did the best will score the points. So just to kind of clarify that up. But with Suzuka itself here, we got a bit of a cold track today. I think it was like 7 degrees or so, to say the least, so a little bit chilly. Edward, any idea of how that will affect our drivers here this evening?
Well, obviously, the colder the track temps, the better for the tires. I will say I have ran Suzuka before in the GT4 cars, and it's definitely a tough track to handle, especially into the heavy braking zones. I mean, once the rears are gone, you're not going to get much rotation, and you're not going to get off that exit speed. So I think most important thing about tonight is going to be those rear tires, that optimizing the temps so that you can get the best exit speed here.
Absolutely. And now, Jordan, you had the opportunity to kind of study the track a little bit prior to the race, as we do have qualifying just getting underway. Is there any sort of danger spots or like really tricky sections in this track that you expect to see a lot of action in?
Well, this, tricky track is the best way to describe Suzuka here. Right out of the gates, turns 1 through 8 are just deadly. We got those S turns 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that drivers are gonna have to take extra precaution around, especially when they want to take those times to pass coming into those final laps. And then as soon as we get around closing in on those final turns, especially right past the spoon curve there, could get a little dangerous if drivers aren't careful.
Absolutely. And there was one thing that I did notice from chatting with some of the drivers on the CIL Discord, is that there are a couple drivers, not going to name any names, but it's like, hey, I just picked up the track. What kind of lap times are you running? I fear for those drivers here at Suzuka, but of course, a lot of these drivers have probably been practicing since about 5 o'clock this afternoon at the very least, so should be action-packed nonetheless as we ride along here with our Muhammad Alif, your champion from last season. Going to be setting his lap in just a moment. Where does he end up landing? We expect him to see him at the top, and sure enough, P1 immediately starting the season off right.
Absolutely, and you said it, we have our former champion here on this course. And he, again, looking to set the tone here in this season, get those early points right away, and just be able to dominate throughout the rest of the races.
Absolutely. Now, riding along with Kale Davidson, anything, do you have anything in mind here for Kale Edward?
I mean, obviously, I've kind of in the know of like getting to know these drivers, especially been
Mhm.
looking at the past broadcasts from last season. And I mean, with Kale, I've seen him very aggressive, and I think he's one to be a contender. So
100%.
I definitely am excited to see for the first time live here and to really see what he's all about. Because obviously, looking back at the film tapes, I mean, it's great watching these races, but it's one thing to see it in live. So can't wait.
Absolutely, of course. Cale Davidson, also from Ball State, was your second place finisher for the Student Drivers Championship last year, only to fall behind his teammate, of course, our Muhammad Ali. Really, the top five across the board, other than Robert Kissel and Ricky Paz, who had a fantastic season in his own right. Ball State pretty much nearly swept up that top five. But how about a multi talented individual here with Jake Cummings from Wingate University, your winner from Monday's Cup Series race, looking to pull out the open wheel and see if he can do a solid job here as well. Not to be a threat, and actually a little bit of a spin job here, unfortunately, in the hairpin. It just goes to show strong driver does not matter. This track is tricky.
Absolutely. Changing up from different types of racing, especially coming into open wheel on the Super Formula, can be a very difficult task, especially with the amount of horsepower these cars are bringing into the race. That kick can just be a little too much sometimes.
Absolutely. Now, another tricky section here is this final little sector, this little chicane into this off-angled, this like elevation change right before the finish line with Max Hartman actually going to pull a lap in. Does not look like it improves. Brand new though, sitting in the middle of the pack so far, so not bad for being brand new by all means.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Oh,
un- uh, thankfully they still have a couple minutes left.
yes, yes. There's a good
Commentator's
chance.
curse.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. We're gonna see so much of that. I think especially today, season opener, there might be little jitters, and I think we might be able to call some of these disasters before they happen. But um, another key with this track too, and Edward, I want to throw this one to you. It's a very, as Dan mentioned, elevated. Oddly, like there's a lot of hills, a lot of ups and downs. How do you think the drivers are kind of getting ready to prepare for that?
I would say, yeah, one of the most difficult parts is the positive cambers, and I mean, I say negative cambers, but I know some road racers they like to call it differently. But I think that basically it's really going to be important is, as I said, those rear tires. I mean, the one thing that I've really spoke with some of the drivers here, especially when taking these positive cambers and negative, is that if the once those rears start slipping, it's over. So it's gonna definitely be a tough track, and especially in those elevation changes, that's gonna really be key on how do you take those lines, how are you gonna take the apex? Because if you're gonna miss it, and if you're gonna go off track, or if you're gonna go really slow, it's either between you getting a position or losing a whole bunch of positions.
Absolutely. Now, as qualifying is within the last couple of moments here, we are going to take a quick, or I'm going to personally take a quick look at somebody who's a bit of an outlier to me. Esteban Munoz out of Florida International University. Driver that I have at least personally thought went on the track with him has been an absolute firecracker. He is either in the top five, absolutely slaying, or he's been slayed on the side of the road, sort of speak. But coming through, pulling it off nicely here, and is actually able to break up the front row from being a double Ball State front row, getting second place there.
Absolutely. And with a lot of these, a lot of these drivers, um, especially with these each individual races, a lot of hit or miss. Sometimes a driver such as Muhammad Ali could have one bad day, and that's all it takes. And I think each driver is going to try their best here. And like we said, season opener, can't wait.
As we do see the drivers are gritting up the field right here, right now. Of course, starting things off in the front are Muhammad Ali on pole, right off the bat here, picking up where he left off. It is going to be Esteban Munoz, of course, in second. from Florida International University, followed up by Cale Davidson from Ball State University. Lucas Moody, yet another Ball State University driver, going to be currently shown in fourth. And then go ahead.
Absolutely.
Nicholas Daly, it looks like, here for number 5.
Nicholas Daly here in number 5, and then that will be followed by Hunter Haddisty there in number 6. Then we move on to Bradley Skinker there, and we're going to see Cohen Evans right behind them. Edward, I'll throw that one to you to continue. At Luis Manuel Diaz there.
Yeah. Let's quickly take a look. Of course, looks like Luis Manuel Diaz going to be in 9th. We got Andrew Williams from Clemson going to be in 10th. Zachary Lindler, not only the admin, but showing up the field here, going to be in 11th. But I think I hear the flag going down. It is green flag time here, racing here in CIL Formula College. Diving down in the turn number 1, Muhammad Alif looks like he has a fantastic start with nobody really there to contest him off the start of things. Little bit of a bunch up near the midfield, but otherwise a rather clean start to this one.
Absolutely, and Cale Davidson right behind him there, holding that second place, being that perfect wingman for R there as he just continues to dominate in this first little opening stretch. And we are going to see them now enter the S curves here. This is where it could get a little bit dicey, but it seems so far so good as the drivers are handling it quite nicely.
Absolutely see here around the top of the field anyway, everybody's kind of single filing out. They know that they do not want to try and go side by side there because it is absolutely going to wreck your exit going into that little bit of a fast period in the next section. But as it quickly lines right back up, the big thing to note to start this one off is unfortunately that for Esteban Munoz, right off the line, just dropped 2 spots.
Quite the thing to do, and he's going to have to try and make this up as best as he can as he starts to push up onto the next place here. That will be Nicholas Daly that he is chasing down for that 3rd place spot.
Just quickly there, Nicholas Daly too, one of the drivers that actually did not truly commit to racing today until like 2 hours ago. So just going to show how fantastic of a driver Nicholas Daly is here as he just immediately into the podium positions. But Edward, how do you think of that start? It was rather quiet, to say the least, don't you think?
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, I was looking at Esteban Munoz there, losing those 2 positions. I mean, what was really wrong with him was just locking up those tires. I mean, it's so key into those S's after turns 1 through 8. I mean, you saw how they all single file, but even back there, like in around, I was looking at top 15 around there, and they were going crazy. I mean, they were going 5 wide at one point, and I thought that was an oval thing. It's crazy.
Yeah, not just a dedicated oval thing, apparently, but one thing I do want to mention, it does look like there wasn't without at least one casualty. It does look like Michael Tignati was sent to the pits off the start, so a rough start to the season in that regard. But it seems like the rest of the field, for the most part, come down with maybe a few scratches, but nobody really completely taken down. But this battle for 3rd through like 7th is going to be ridiculous.
Absolutely. Places haven't quite changed too much here. As we look around, we are going to see Bradley Skinker starting to pull up into that top 5 spot. But looking at the top 10 as a whole, nothing too out of the ordinary here. We still got Cale Davidson and Muhammad Alif. And yes.
And they kind of... Yeah, did flick on over there for just a second because a couple more drivers do seem to have been sent to the pits as well. And of course, looks like Fior, Leclerc, and Wembley might have been all tangled up in their own incident as well. So an unfortunate start to the season for them. But of course, we do have 2 sprint races today, 20 laps. So this feels like it's going to be a bit of a long time. You do have a little bit of time to play with here. You don't have to completely... gun it essentially right away, but don't want to get too strung out too far behind.
Absolutely. Edward, coming into these next couple laps, you know, what are you thinking for how these drivers are going at it?
I mean, we're definitely seeing already a lot of understeer and oversteer from a lot of these guys. I mean, we're on board right here with Cohen Evans here as we go through the S's. And now down on this left-hander, when we take the right-hander and the right, well, 90 degrees. I always call this corner the 90-degree corner because it's just a heavy braking zone here, and it's important because you're picking up the speed once again, and you're gonna go into this next hairpin here and setting up for the next really long straightaway. And we got a
Oh!
wreck, Lucas Moody. Oh, and he's got damage. Another race course off on the side. Oh, Lucas Moody.
Yeah, some massive damage there. We will have a replay on that shortly because that is absolutely massive. As we do quickly take a look at looks like Moody's point of view. Somebody looks like just kind of spun it going in the hairpin, which again is just such a hard corner to go through. You hit that gas just ever so slightly too hard, and you are going to go around, and some serious damage to one of the cars there in the background.
Absolutely, we saw even in the warm-ups too, that hairpin being so tricky for the drivers to get around, and there it is in action, just taking out a racer for a little while here. But as we continue, not too much change up in the top spots here. We do see Lucas Moody now in 8th, starting to push his way back up, and taking a look at these top spots, kind of what we expected.
Yeah, for the most part, I guess the surprise here actually for myself or Luis Diaz to be able to get up into the top 4 fighting here for a fighting car behind him. Nicholas Daly here is actually right on the tail of Cale Davidson as well, half a second behind. There's still plenty of time. Does not have to be over aggressive, to say the least, as of this moment. But again, just trying to take the time. Yeah, you got to be so careful through, like you were saying, that 90-degree area. It's deceptively fast, but you have to be so accurate, otherwise you're just in the dirt.
I mean, yeah, definitely when you're trying to set up for that corner, you see how he was going super far on the left side and taking those curves. And one thing that I started doing road this last few weeks, their curves, they can spit you out and ruin your day, because the way that these cars handle the curves, while some of them can go easily, but that setup corner to try to arc it in as much as you can, it can really ruin your day. And as we saw, really, he got this corner, he set this up really well here. Oh, he goes a little bit outside, but you see how that curve messed him up. But he's in the slipstream right now. Is he going to use a push to overtake right here? It looks like he is. He's gaining slowly. Will he get him in the next corner? It wasn't enough, has he? Oof, that was close.
Yeah, could opt to send it on the inside if they really wanted to, but going to opt to be patient, which is definitely the wise move in this instance. But I do want to bring up something that you did just mention, because that is actually a difference, I believe, compared to the Formula 4s that we were driving in the last semester. These super formulas do have what is called the overtake button, which is basically a very, very limited amount of extra juice, to say the least, that your engine can supply you with to assist with either offense or defense. So it is just an extra little bit that you can use to get past somebody, but it doesn't look like anybody is going to be essentially using it as right now. You'll see a little green screen on the steering wheel if they do opt to do so. But we do take a look here at the battle for 12th, and as one of Sinclair's newcomers, Adrian Tubakovic is actually hanging in there, just borderline in almost at the points, to say the least here, but has to defend off against Philippe de Roger.
Absolutely, those top 10 spots are the only ones that are going to get points, and now Adrian fighting to find that 10th, as he also has to play defense too. Kind of in a tough spot here, but we can see him start to gain on that 10th place Jason Wallet there. Only, I believe that's one, yeah.
Just over a second.
Just over a second behind him here, and now he's kind of getting pushed up from behind. It's going to be a tough battle for him.
Yeah, it looks like Adrian is being really forced by Felipe to really catch up to Jason here, but Jason looks like he's going to try and, it looks like he's trying to set up a move on Lucas Moody, seems like, because he was gaining him a few tenths right there in those last sectors.
Yeah, we don't know necessarily if Lucas Moody has any damage from that little incident that we saw earlier, which according to race control is currently being investigated. Of course, possible penalties are there, but actually, hang on a second, as we do see, it's going to be Jason Wallet. He barely hangs onto the curb, but he's going to make sure gets around the inside and moves in the ninth.
Incredible overtake there. Absolutely, and as we look up ahead, Cale Davidson here pushing for that second place spot, so close to Nicholas Daly here. As they take that turn, he's gonna be able to stay just as close behind, and we're getting into these S-bends again. Not the ideal place to overtake, but if you control it and maintain it well, getting into that hairpin, you could have a possible chance.
I mean, I was looking at the times here. I mean, he gained around 2 tenths, I believe, in last lap in the final sectors there. So it's interesting that Kale is finally kind of catching up to Nicholas, but Nicholas, as you see, he kind of pulls away because he has a better exit there. In the middle sector, he is getting a lot more speed. So it might be that the first and last sector is where Kale kind of, I guess, unleashes his car in terms of getting that extra grip off the corners. But as we see Kale pulling away, being trying to reel him in, as we see he's around less than 6/10 right now, and it's sorry 6 seconds, and yeah.
Yeah, and one thing I want to point out is the fact that Nicholas Daly, of course, had made it into second, because that was originally Cale Davidson's spot, but Nicholas Daly somehow found his way around, and now slightly kind of pulling away, only tenths at a time, but as we can see with our Muhammad Alif, it only takes tenths at a time for it to then turn into, 6 seconds. So just some solid job there. Now take a look at our 10th place, or our 9th place battle, rather. Sure, Moody did end up getting passed by Jason Wallet there from Drexel, but is not giving up just yet, trying to stay within range. And it does seem that the earlier incident in this race did end up just being called a racing incident, so no time-second penalties for anybody as of this moment. So a relatively clean start to the season opener.
Absolutely, and I believe we just saw Andrew Williams lose a place there, and now going to be fighting to stay within that top 10. But we do see that behind the top 10, Philippe de Rosier was able to grab that 11th place, and now going to be looking to find that 10th place spot and get some points for this first race here.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think Felipe is actually gonna probably get him probably in the next 3 laps, probably even in 2 laps. Because the way I'm looking at it, Lucas Moody, I mean, he is just hanging on to Jason, especially in the straights because of the draft that he's getting from him. The slipstream is what's keeping him alive because I believe he got a lot of front nose damage. And yeah, it doesn't look really terrible there, but he has been losing a lot of grip, especially around the corners. And I think that his only reason of him really getting there is of Jason. But as you see, Jason is slowly pulling away. Oh, we have a car.
Yeah.
That's Cohen Evans, and he's going to lose positions there. But yeah, so it seems like Felipe now is in 10th, so he's in the point spot. But Adrian is going to soon catch up. And Lucas, I think Adrian, if he catches up, I think Lucas might be out of the points here soon enough.
Yeah, that would definitely be a possibility here with some of these drivers now getting at least a little bit of open track to try and hold some hot laps. It could mean troublesome, like you're saying there, for Lucas Moody, but still, at least like you're saying, hanging on to Jason Wallet for the time being. But are they going to be able to catch this in the top 5 pack? Probably not. Those drivers, again, just majority Ball State drivers, once again, just kind of leading the field and like putting on a clinic, to say the least. Nicholas Daly, of course, is the only real threat to Alif, and even then, that's a couple seconds difference. But with this battle for it be 8th place here, being the closest thing on field, we do see Lucas Moody still thinking about it, but a big heartbreaker moment actually for Cohen Evans. Of course, I do believe Evans was within the top 5, and it looks like we do actually have a replay for that. We did see him kind of beached off the side, so what the heck actually ended up going down here for Cohen Evans? Just a moment, I think it was either a spin, not 100% sure. This is actually
We have a
going
spin.
to be a spin here from Adrian Tubakovic. Some of the pressures we were mentioning, one of the St. Clair newer drivers does end up going around, and here we are alongside Cohen Evans. What on the world seems to happen here?
As we get into it here,
yeah.
yeah, and nice little spin on that hairpin, the deadly corner on this track. We thought those S-bends were going to be it, but it seems that this hairpin is just getting everybody today. And as we can see, it did Cohen Evans no favors there, as it took him a while to kind of reset.
Now we have the battle of 8th. Oof. Crazy battle here, and like I said, I mean, yeah, Lucas is holding on, and I was also taking a look at how Jason was taking the middle sector. I mean, he is just bailing on, but as I say, the exits back on the straights is what matters in Lucas here. Probably he's not using his overtake, he's just using the slipstream, so I'm assuming he's gonna save his overtake, but he looks like he's going to the inside here. He's gonna go for it. He lunges in, and he makes a pass on Jason Wallet, and he's gonna take 8th place. He says, "Thank you very much," and off he goes. Will Jason have anything to really respond here back into turn 1?
Honestly, fantastic job there from Lucas Moody. Even bulldozed over the curbs a little bit, but did not like overextend on it, because that would have absolutely upset the weight distribution of the car, and you would have spun upon hitting the gas, which would have absolutely been troublesome. But of course, too good of a driver to let that happen. Now moving up into 8th place, put himself in a solid spot for a couple more points.
I may be
Absolutely.
wrong. Maybe the damage buffed his front bumper off. Cause I mean, I was totally on the right of like, yeah, his day is probably over. But maybe it's the anti-commentator curse. I'm giving him the I guess the blessings really.
Absolutely.
Does Ball State need a buff?
You're
Very
right.
true.
You're right.
But no, absolutely. Solid job nonetheless to get that done.
Absolutely, and we noticed that Andrew Williams also was able to kind of move back up in those placements. So now Lucas is going to be looking to overtake him there for the 7th place spot. Or yes, or sorry, I think I'm
No,
reading
Andrew
that wrong.
Williams is lapped down currently, so he's
Yes,
currently 25th.
sorry. So Lucas will be looking to take on Clint here and try to find that 7th place spot. But as we continue through, nothing too crazy yet. A couple spin outs. Haven't seen any disastrous crashes yet.
Yeah, there's a few drivers. As we take a look at the ticker, of course, going through, there's a couple drivers that have been confirmed out. We do have a spin, actually. Is that Evans again? No, it's not Evans.
Yeah,
It's,
Cohen Evans.
Evans did.
No,
Oh,
Akeem
Lamar.
Lamar.
There he is. Yeah, right as you're about to go into that really fast section right near the end of the course. Right around.
And I can only put a bet it was
Brutal.
Jake Cummings that was putting the pressure on him. I think that was battling for 13th, I believe, and Jake Cummings was right behind them, and that's what really caused him maybe to spin out there, trying to get in front of him.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, we will have a replay for that momentarily here. Just unfortunately gets a little over eager on the gas, and sure enough, that will send him sideways, and that is going to make things a little bit difficult. Granted, no damage, but that one definitely hurts the position for a little bit.
Absolutely. As we get back underway here, I think the biggest talk is this battle to stay in the top 10 here. We see Jason Wallet 9th, Philippe, sorry, pushing in on that 10th spot
closer.
now. But right behind him, we see a little bit more of a battle here for that 11th, 12th too, but that 8th, 9th, 10th spot is quite the war.
Yeah, the more Moody and Wallet end up battling here, this is just going to benefit Philippe that much more. And as we do see, borderline a second behind. So if they're just constantly getting in their way ahead of them, Philippe, of course, in the points right now, is sitting at 10th, so doesn't want to overextend and crash out. But probably wants a couple of extra points, especially with it being the separation between the student and the alumni championships. That could be a big difference as we move along even later in the season.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I mean, it's definitely gonna be the battle between these three, but if I was them, I would think, hey, I'm gonna get points at the end of the day. Why am I gonna kill myself over this? You see how many people died in the hairpin, already 3 victims there. So it'll be interesting to see, because Jason is getting closer and closer to Lucas Moody. Definitely the slipstream is helping him, and he'll probably get there in 4 to 3/10 here in this turn 1, but time will tell. Will these drivers play it safe, or will they risk it all for the extra points here?
Yeah, a couple of drivers that unfortunately maybe didn't necessarily take it very safely earlier is a couple of our drivers at the back, which unfortunately for the Saints fans is going to include Athena Leclerc getting called out for punting. So not only did she take some damage, but that's going to be a 10-second penalty on her tally as well, which will get added at the end of the race. So that is probably going to mean that Athena is going to fall like to 24th or something, which is definitely going to hurt. But at the end of the day, if it's on the top 10, no points in the first place, right? But this still being our main point of contention right on the fringe of that point line, of course, with Moody, Walla, and DeRozier.
And we are just getting over the halfway point of this first race here on a lap 11 of 20 for Jason and Philippe here. And we can see that they're keeping it close. I don't think, like you said, Philippe's kind of in a good spot where he doesn't really have to overpressure right now. All it takes is for Lucas and Clint there, Jason and Lucas in front of him to make one bad mistake and he can fly up into that 8th position just like that. And as they kind of go over the side there, they are going to lose a little bit of time, but just holding pace for now.
As you noticed, they were using right now they're using the push to overtake. So for the audience looking out, as you see the bright flashing green lights, that's that they're using up their overtake right now, and the push to overtake was insane because look at how close Jason got to him, right behind Lucas Moody, and maybe they can get him in the first corner. No, I don't think so. He's kind of too far off, but as you saw heading down in that backstretch over there, it was kind of getting close, and they're looks like they're using it again, but yeah, so they are kind of pulling away a little bit by Felipe because Felipe is now almost more than a second and a half behind them.
although this does mean that that moment where Philippe, does, if he does get into the position to attack, there may be less overtake in the tank here for these two drivers down the road. We basically see Moody and Wallet, they're kind of matching each other overtake for overtake. Just if Wallet goes for the attack, Moody has to use it to defend and along those lines. But Philippe Roger can just kind of sit there, eventually make his way back into the slipstream with how these two drivers are battling, and maybe have it for when it counts later in this race.
Absolutely. And Dan, you mentioned it a little there, and touch on it a little more, is that each driver only gets so much of that overtake boost, and obviously using it at those right times is super important, especially now getting into the second half of this race. It would be the time to start thinking about, okay, where am I going in these next couple laps? Who am I ready to overtake? When am I going to be able to use this? And Edward kind of being the driver and competitor here, like, you know, what are the thoughts going into the back half of races?
So definitely gonna say that, you know, for example, a Leaf out there in front, it's a cruise. The man is chilling. So I would say he is 11 seconds ahead right now. So you could say that he is gonna be smooth sailing. And I hope I didn't curse him. But I would say that yes, I've been in these positions, and he's. If I would say that in my experience, especially in the cup, and you know when you're racing for position, especially for points, because obviously I don't have to run for top 10 for points in the situation, but definitely every position matters. And we're on board right now with Jason as we run through the S's here. It's definitely going to be one for who is going to crack under pressure, because definitely every point matters, as you said earlier, that towards the end of the season, 1 point can mean the difference about moving on to the next round or even winning the championship. Now, for me personally, I feel like if I was in their position, definitely kind of, you know, you're kind of sweating a little bit here, because as we saw, the hairpin is really bad in terms of getting these drivers out of the race, and especially out of this, going into the second long straightaway here on this track. So it's definitely going to be a heartbreaker if they hit that grass, if they hit the curb a little bit too much. So I'd say I'd like to relax now. Like if I was Jason right now, I know I'm in the middle of those two right now between Lucas and Philip, but knowing that I'm in 9th place, I'm going to get points, it's going to be nice to relax.
Oh, but the racer in you just wants to go full force, right? There's no relaxing. It just go. More
No,
points,
of
more
course.
points. Wait a minute. What do you mean I'm in the sandpit? Anyway, but we do actually have ourselves a little bit of a battle ahead of Moody and Wallet, as we have ourselves the battle for what I believe, position 5, it looks like, between Skinker, Hadesy, and Halterman. And they are so close. 3 cars basically under a blanket as of this moment, going across the start-finish line. And with Skinker...
Hunter got a bad exit.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit awkward. We're going to bring in the overtakes pretty much instantaneously. Clint Halterman looking to possibly make a move. Does not quite have the inside, though. Going to concede because, yes, going side by side in this section is basically a death wish.
Absolutely, and we do see our upper standings still kind of staying the same here. Cale Davidson, yep. And as we look...
Wait, where'd Daly go? It does look like we actually have the bird's eye view here on what happened to Daly, so we'll pull that up in just a moment's time, but that is an absolute upset. Maybe a little bit of an extended commentator's curse, was kind of praising him as he's basically by himself here, so what on earth ended up going down? Oh no, what a worse place to end up doing it. That is absolutely brutal. That was essentially a podium there for Nicholas Daly.
That's weird, because that's not somewhere where you would see someone really lose it. I mean, you're kind of half throttling over the edge over there. So, man, that's really unfortunate for him. But that opens up another spot for the 10th place position now, because who's after Felipe? I'm trying to remember the name. Definitely now an extra spot. Yes.
Okay. So yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
You go ahead.
Yeah, you know, big crash there. I guess we could say we did.
We have another battle. Here we go.
There we go, as Hunter is going to try and overtake into the 4th spot, and he does find it, and he's going to be able to dominate that turn there and be able to, you know, assert himself as the pack leader.
But Bradley got it off exit here, so Clint Halterman is going to find the inside. He's probably going to send it here on the turn 1, but he might concede. He's going to concede.
Yep. And good timing, of course, because they're... Oh, he went wide, though! That's going to give it right back to Skanker, able to get right by Halterman. He felt the position essentially in his hands, smelled the blood in the water, and kind of overextended for it. Thankfully, though, not out of the slipstream, though, so still in striking distance.
Yeah, what a save. Give him credit for that. I mean, yeah, he was
100%.
going over around, like he was basically in in the off track almost, but he knew he decided to take it slow. He did brake early and he salvaged what he can, but you know, as I said earlier, one small mistake moves the position. So he's currently sitting, you know, at least pretty in sixth in my opinion. I mean, he's got to wait to come back here, but definitely going to be taking those two cars in front of him. It's going to be, oh, we got a little lockup with Hunter in front, but I was going to say, I mean, these two up front, that's going to mean the slipstream is going to be crazy here on the next straightaway. So it's going to be interesting if he's able to kind of reel himself back towards them.
Just kind of curious as to how much overtake they have left in the tank here, because these three have been battling it out pretty hard for about a lap or two, to say the least. But
and I want to quickly.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry. I was gonna say, like in this last two corners there, if you not heard, his tires were slipping.
Yeah.
Clint his rears are on fire right now. So I don't know how long he has. Like right there in that moment, he kind of he's oversteering just a little bit. The rears are going, so it'll be interesting to see. I mean, I'm hoping that he gets to get it past them. But it's going to be interesting here as we go down the straightaway, down to the start-finish line, back into first lap, and we have currently 5 laps to go. So a quarter of a race left, and I don't know, these tires, if Clinton is having these issues, definitely these other drivers are going to have these issues too. So it's always about who saved the rear tires the most and who's going to take advantage of that. As Bradley nearly loses it, what a save! But through the S's they go, and he's able to just, he didn't even lose that much time with that, but that shows that the rear tires, these guys, they're running on marbles right now, so it's all about who's gonna keep it straight and who's not gonna spin out.
If that was me, I would be doing donuts, and it has absolutely nothing to do with a victory, to say the least here. My goodness.
It's a good thing that, oh.
He ate that curb a lot, but like I said, these curbs, they can kill you, but he's gonna keep going strong, but he is losing a second now because going into this hairpin out of here. Last lap, he was around half a second behind. This lap, let's see how far he gets. Oh, he has a good exit right here. Bradley looks like he didn't get a good exit. And now Hunter's kind of getting away a second now. So I think Clint is probably gonna be on the attack mode of Bradley if Bradley doesn't keep it up.
Absolutely. They're starting to sparse out a little there in that 4, 5, 6 position, and 4 laps to go now. It is going to be a little bit crazy, but we're going to take a look back at one of our favorite people here, Jason Wallet, as he is trying to push up to Lucas Moody for that 7th place spot. And as we can see, Philippe DeRosier behind him and Cohen Evans holding on to that 10th and final point spot. Kind of an interesting battle here.
We're going to hop right back here, it looks like, into the battle for 6 as Clint Halterman is battling up with Bradley Skanker once again right on the doorstep, to say the least. Looking for it. It's the overtake side. It may not matter. At the slipstream, going to be trying to take it along the outside here with Bradley Skanker. Halterman is going to be able to clear him off the start. No, they're going to go side by side, right up against the curb, but both drivers keeping it clean, to say the least. But Halterman will have the run and is going to be able to pull it off on the outside to get the top 5.
What a pass to the outside.
Absolutely. Absolutely, and here we go, Jason Wallet once again as he's starting to push up to Lucas Moody. He really wants that 7th place spot, and he is going to do whatever he can here as they take these S-turns magnificently and just holding that pace. Lucas Moody is doing a great job defensively right here, and Jason Wallet right behind him doing everything he can for his offense.
Gets so close, but then just unfortunately cannot quite close it out there. But as we do have a quick second, one person I do want to give a shout out to as of this moment. Let's hope this doesn't commentary curse. Cohen Evans. Last time we spotted him, he was in the sand pit doing donuts after missing the hairpin. In the top 5, or not the top 5, in the top 10, in the points right now. Fantastic recovery drive if you can hang on to this.
You better save those tires, because definitely after those spins, I mean, we'll see if Cohen Evans can keep it together, but obviously it seems like he's kind of gaining towards Felipe. He's only 3 seconds behind, so who knows? Never say never.
Absolutely, and in this final 3 laps, we can see everybody that's close here using their overtake. They need to make up whatever positions they can, because this is what it's going to come down to. And Cohen Evans, if I'm reading this correctly, a 16-second lead on 11th, so kind of holding steady there.
Yeah, so definitely quite the gap, to say the least, there. So as long as Cohen Evans can stay safe, that is, of course, the position will be his. But of course, shout out to the person who's actually, leading this race is going to be our Muhammad Alif, who is 18 seconds ahead. Looking like
those were 2
Verstappen
cars
out there, to say the least, with gaps like these.
So yeah, Athena Leclerc and who else was it that someone else spun out, but correct. They both spun out and it seems like they were in the barriers. But yeah, as we saying, a leaf, gotta give credit to him for Verstappen, and we're gonna get a replay on what happened with Athena and Mark Tariq. Let's see here.
Take a look. We see Athena in the lead there. Gonna, just spin a little
Oh,
and,
Uh,
unfortunately take out Tariq along with her there. And that unfortunately will not do so good, especially after that 10-second penalty earlier in the race.
and you can see even going into the hairpin, she already didn't have her front wing. So that
Mhm.
car is handing, or these cars plow, to say the least. They like understeer badly to begin with.
they don't want to.
If you
They don't
don't
want to
have a
steer no
front
more.
wing, you're basically have to crawl to get this thing to turn
Mhm.
unless you hit the gas a little bit too much, and then you actually
It's
oversteer
like
quite a
having
bit.
no power steering for the Cup car.
Basically, yeah, definitely painful in that regard. As we now see Alterman looking for the pass here on Hadesy. Looks to fake it off the start, but did he get a decent run here going into this fast portion around the start-finish line? 2 laps to go here in this first sprint race.
And
Here we
here
go.
we go. He's going to be able to get up side by side using whatever boost he's got left here. Will he commit to it? And,
Oh no!
oh,
I think they made contact. I think
what?
Yeah,
I can't
Hunter and
quite tell
Clint
what he
made
lost.
contact.
That, I don't know if it was full contact or if that was net code, but all I know is Halterman is missing his
It
right
was net
side
code.
pod now. The net code is going to make this absolutely heartbreaking. Halterman had 4th in his sights, but now with the damage on his right side, this could even mean that Skinker gets to start fighting back into this one.
Yeah, he's trying to hold off
Absolutely.
Bradley here, but we'll see if he can get him in the next straightaway because definitely he's going to lose a lot of straightforward speed as someone else is off. Alan Hong, it looks like he's off the 20th place at number 41, but we'll see what we can see. Yeah, right now with the battle here, now it seems like Hunter is kind of slow here. He's not getting that much speed off that corner, so it looks like Clint is going to actually come back and try to fight back.
Yeah, absolutely incredible stuff here to see how this one possibly ends out. It looks like for a moment that after Halterman's overtake did not go as according to plan, that Hasty may have been able to kind of run away from this group a little bit, but that's absolutely not the case. Halterman, damage or not, is hanging in there as we're going to go side by side. If the net code would cooperate, that's going to be the overtake and the clean maneuver here from Skinker to get back into the top 5. Looking for 4 now.
Ooh, and here we
We're
go,
looking at
final
double
lap.
overtake.
Tried it. Not quite this time, though.
Yeah, but he set up the good exit right here, so Bradley might have a chance if he's gonna use his overtake here, but because definitely Hunter used up a lot of his overtake before, so let's see if he's gonna get there. He's probably gonna look into the inside, because he's gonna look at the outside now. Now Hunter is all the way in the inside. Oh, and he makes a pass. Bradley makes a pass for 4th place.
Oh, but around the outside, we're not quite done yet here. Final lap, of course, here, and sprint race number 1 of your Formula College season opener. Can Skinker hang on in this battle here with Hadesy? I wonder if Hadesy maybe has a little bit of damage after the netcode contact with Halterman. Maybe, maybe not. But as of right now, looking good.
Absolutely, and Hadassi does have to be careful there a little bit just to make sure that they don't overextend, but here we are. We see our leader, our Muhammad Alif, a whole 25 seconds in front, and I think has secured the podium.
Oh, never mind the podium. This is going to be absolute victory here for our Muhammad Alif for Ball State University. Successful victory in sprint race number 1.
Uh, Absolutely, and here we go. Cale Davidson, another Ball State University, coming in at 2nd place here. Gonna be finishing off nice and easy. Take this turn, hopefully not a little too crazy and do any crazy spins at the last moment.
Just enough to give us a heart attack, but no, not quite this time here. Cale Davidson going to make this a Ball State 1-2 to start off the season, with Luis Diaz right around the corner as well to break up the Ball State shenanigans, as it's going to be from Florida International University taking 3rd place.
Absolutely, and now we see Skinker, another Ball State University driver here, going to be finishing off in 4th, and right behind him, Hunter Hadasty will be finishing off as well.
Yeah, with Halterman behind him as well. In the battle with Lucas Moody and Jason Wallet is finally going to come to a conclusion with it going to Moody. So again, a solid start here for the Ball State drivers as they successfully get basically all of their drivers into the top 10. And solid shout out there to Cohen Evans. After spinning early in the race, does get themselves into the points. It's just waiting on the rest of these drivers here, as we see from like 13 onward, to get the finish.
Absolutely.
Oh, and we got a
Oh,
spin with Andrew
Ah.
Burrow as he gets behind Austin DeLong. Austin DeLong seems like he kind of got on the gas a little bit too late there, and Andrew just got too close and spun it. And terrible way to finish out. But hey, it's over, right? 17th place. What can you do about it now?
mhm.
I mean, it's over, but it's not over, is to
The
say
season
the
just
least here.
started.
We do have the full results going to be coming up in just a moment here after an exciting first sprint race, to say the leaf. Say a leaf. I mean, I, I wish I could say I did that on purpose, but no. But a leaf once again showing absolute dominance. I think that lead was about like 25 seconds long,
Yep.
or something along those lines. So absolutely fantastic
So I'm
showing
hearing
there
that
from
Ball
the leaf
State
again.
University is Red Bull. Is this how it's gonna be like?
You're not wrong. If Red Bull had 4 cars, you're probably correct. Yeah, it's as if a Red Bull and AlphaTauri or whatever they're called nowadays are basically the same power. Basically, yeah. But full results, of course, it is going to be a Leaf followed by Cale Davidson, Luis Diaz. That is your podium.
Absolutely. And we do see continuing on Hunter Haddesty there in fifth. Clint Halterman right behind him. Lucas Moody, another Ball State driver there as well. Jason Wallet, Philip DeRosier, and Cohen Evans will be rounding out our top 10.
Absolutely fantastic job there. So Drexel finding themselves on the board there with Jason Wallet, Philip DeRozier quickly trying to see where they are representing. Don't mind me for a quick second. That is going to be Howard Community College being represented here in the top 10. So solid job there.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
one thing to mention, as we now have ourselves the reversed top 10 going into this second race, which I'm not sure if anybody watched the clash last week for CIL. I hope nobody saw the clash, because I was that person who was 10th in the first race, started in first in the second, spun my tires immediately because I'm an absolute dingus and I made everybody wreck behind me. So this
Ah,
is this is the this is the part now that's kind of scary for people who maybe aren't used to that front pressure. Which I don't want to say that Cohen Evans, Philippe, or Wallet like aren't necessarily experienced. I'm sure they're way more experienced than I am, but that's a whole extra lot of pressure, to say the least, because there's a few sections of this track that can kind of feel defenders' advantage, kind of.
Mhm. For
And
sure.
if you can hang on to that, that could be the difference. If you got 10th the first time, maybe you find yourself a top 5 if you can hold on to it. But you can absolutely do what I did and just absolutely blow it. So it's scary.
Absolutely. And when talking about those offensive and defensive plays, especially looking at Suzuka, there are very, very clear chances to overtake, but there are very, very clear places where you need to kind of find your place
Yeah,
in line, right?
just stop.
Those first S curves, if you're not ready to commit, you better just fall in line, know your place, and follow the rest of those bends until you get out of that hairpin and you can finally start to find a little bit of speed on that first straight.
Absolutely. Edward, in this kind of situation, I know this isn't necessarily something we have to really deal with in terms of the cup side of things, but you ever get into that kind of spot where the caution's ending and you're leading the pack up front? Can you explain to us what that feels like?
oh man, I mean, you feel like you're flying, but the immense pressure is so much because I can personally say from 2 days ago when we were at Auto Club, I got close to leading. I was in second after the caution. I was getting up there, but it's definitely a nerve-wracking because you're the one who's setting the pace. You're the one in the lead. You're gonna be the one who is gonna dignify which racing line is the leader gonna take, and where second place or third place, are they gonna follow you, or are they gonna take a different line and they're gonna overtake? So, in this sense, it's all about just a mental game, I should say, and really having to fortitude yourself into thinking, okay, I'm gonna take this line and I'm gonna go with it and commit to it and not think twice about it.
Yeah, and there's one thing I do want to even mention prior from the last season, at least from just watching a bunch of the CIL's races. I don't know what it is about sprint race number 2, but if the start of race 1 was everybody behaving nicely, we're not going to see that
Yeah.
in sprint race number 2. Everybody kind of knows how everybody is, who is like skill wise. You kind of know who you're faster than at this point. So there are quite a few people that will get impatient. They will make those moves. And I mean, it's a tried and true tale. You can't win on the first turn, but you can absolutely lose on the first turn, to say the least, as we are just finishing up our warm up and getting ready to grid for race number 2. Jordan, any thoughts on this one?
I don't know if we quite touched on it earlier, but especially during that race, we saw these cars are fragile.
Oh, yeah.
You lose a piece so quickly, and it is detrimental to the rest of your race, especially those front fins there can just affect, well, they do affect the rest of your race. And, you know, just the lightest tap and boom, it's gone.
Yep, another thing with anyone who saw the clash, poor Mark Turek there. I kind of hit him under caution at like 30 kilometers an hour. I wasn't even going that fast, and I actually shattered his gearbox to the point where he couldn't race. There may be a
Oof.
reason why I am on the commentary desk and not the track here today, but nonetheless, it's not about me. We have the grid here for race number 2, and of course, we've got that reversed top 10, so it should be Cohen Evans going to be starting things off with shorts to follow. It is going to be Philippe de Roger, it looks like, right behind them there.
Green flag, green flag.
Hang on, let's just wait. I hear the green flag going. It is time for sprint race
Lights
number
are
2.
away.
And they're already wrecking in the background.
Oh.
Somebody's in the marshal's pit.
That is not a place you want to start a race, especially
But on
when
the
you
outside,
can't
Jason
move.
went. Cohen, but looks like Jason Wallet took the lead here.
All right. Now, Skanker unfortunately just gets absolutely dumpstered off the start, and we do see some spinning here again. It's an Airball State driver going around, it looks like, hangs into the pit
yellow
though.
flag.
Anything else? Moody
Lucas
does.
Moody's out.
They actually throw the yellow here, which does not happen too often, to say the least, for these road races. But I
Wait.
think the way they were spun, it must have blocked off that road entirely. So we're actually going to get a pace car.
Very, very interesting. And I mean, there it is again, the good old-fashioned caster's curse. You guys called it, but
Sprint 2, there's something about it.
you know it just has to happen there. And funny enough, 2 Ball State drivers being the causes of this caution flag, kind of maybe in their heads a little.
Yeah. Yeah, and one of them was including, like, one of the incidents was, of course, Moody's spin. So I think we're going to get an additional look at it here. I can't remember who got it loose by himself, but just racing up with Evans, and he did look like he gassed it maybe a little bit too much. Eventually got a little bit of a side tap. But what else happens behind it? Everybody dodge okay? It looks like
No, there was more wrecks on the right
Little
side.
on
There
the
was
back.
more wrecks. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Take it away.
We
I mean,
do
yeah.
see- Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, yeah, there was a lot more wrecks behind because you could barely see with the camera view. But yeah,
Oh.
that's where you had more spins there and more
Oh,
people
no.
taken out. Oh man, it's a demo derby down here. I should have been a part of this. Ooh, wow, this looks fun. But as you see, a lot of people
Oh.
taken out.
Look at
Oh,
the
somebody.
wheel
How is
I
that?
don't think they can
moving?
park there. I don't think you can park there.
on. Sir, you can't park there. No, that your wheel is completely off. Esteban Munoz, I think we're going to ride along with. Actually, no, it's with Diaz, it looks like. But what in the world? Just, it wasn't the initial contact that made everything messy, but the aftermath, as we do see some pretty serious content. Or not content, but contact.
Yeah, thank God these drivers have the halo, because that could have been a sport under there. So
Yeah.
Luis Manuel Diaz lives for another day, but scary, scary incident. But that's how desperate these guys are. You see how the difference between the first sprint and this second start is that these guys, they know what their pace is. As you said earlier, you know who you can pass and who is better. But as you see, 3, 4, 5 cars out of line,
Well, that
but a
was
hard
Halterman.
hit for Clint Halterman. Oof,
Oh,
tough break for him. He had a
literally
good race
right off the
before.
start. Right off the start, and yeah, you're not going anywhere with your rear wheels looking like that. So from top from top 5 to completely out here, hopping along with Clemson's Andrew Williams, who is just right in the snake pit here, right after the contact actually starts going down. Tries to get around the outside, successfully does it, but manages to tap the grass. He had it dodged, but
He almost
unfortunately,
escaped.
unfortunately loses his left rear. And you can see he's crawling and realizing, okay, it looks like I am out of here. An unfortunate start to the season here for Andrew Williams, a longtime veteran here of the CIO. Going to be watching the rest of this one quickly.
Absolutely, and as we get back into the live action here, Jason Wallet leading the pace little rally here, as we can still see taking that hairpin there. That kind of takes a little bit of worry out of there.
Even under safety car it does.
Yes,
It's surprisingly difficult.
for sure.
I was gonna say, did someone got the Jaws music?
Absolutely. You do see a Leaf there slowly creeping up. He wants that spot back. He wants that 25-second lead once again, and if not better.
Also, I was gonna say, I got the list of cars who are currently in the pits, unfortunately out of the race. Right now, well, I got is Philippe Akin, Jake Cummings, also unfortunate for him for his second start, Clint
Okay.
Halterman, and Andrew Williams. Now, Clint Halterman and Andrew Williams are out. The others are currently in the pits, so I don't know how bad their damage is.
Yeah, an absolute rough one to say the least. Quickly taking a look over as well to a couple of other drivers. I don't see Hong or Leclerc out there as well. So for two of those St. Clair drivers, a quick exit from this second sprint race as well. But it is just going to be all eyes here on Jason Wallet from Drexel and Muhammad Alif from Ball State, and even Cohen Evans off of this start. How clean can Jason Wallet get away? How long can he defend for? How much of that overtake are you going to have to use to keep a Leaf behind you? And does a Leaf even have to use his overtake to stay behind them?
I'm going to say it, end of
one of those
turn one.
things.
End of turn one, he's going to get him.
Absolutely.
Of course, gonna ride along there with a Leaf because we know he's going to be aggressive. He waits for no one. And after
But we got to
saw
see
him
how much is Jason going to try and defend him? That's the real question, because at the end of the day, Jason has a top 7 or top 6, car.
Hmm.
So we can only see what happens here on this restart, because definitely if Jason can cover him into turns 1, he'll cover him up until turn 8, and then after turn 8, it's definitely going to be seeing who can get on the gas from the exits. My bet is if Alif doesn't get him in turn 1, he ain't going to get him probably till the end of the next lap, and that gives Jason a little bit more breathing room. And for me personally, when I have somebody who I know will pass me, right, you want to defend as much as you can. Now, you don't want to kill the car, but it kind of gives you the edge. It gives you that motivation of you want to stay up in front of him, so you're gonna have to push yourself to the limit. Do things that you're not gonna want to be able to do in the last 20 laps, but do new things now to get in front of the leader, or potentially the new leader. So I think that Jason Wallet is gonna be make or break here. We'll see if he can hang on to the lead or succumb to second place and just try to trail behind Alif.
And I quickly hate to do this to him, but of all of the CIL drivers that we've had over like the last year or so, whether it be in Cup or whether it be in Road, Jason Wallet has to be the most unluckiest person I've ever seen in CIL. He manages to get collected by the most random stuff race after race. He's always in the top 10, fighting in the top 5s, even sometimes fighting for podiums. But something somewhere, whether it's a tire just kind of leaking on the grass a little bit and spinning, or getting collected in someone else's shenanigans, he somehow is just a magnet to this stuff. And I know he wants to shake this, and it's going to be all up to this first start. Steve, maybe he can shake it off this time.
I'm rooting for him. I'm rooting for him.
100%.
Yeah.
It's always the story that you love of that, breaking out and having that dominance. And I feel like Jason has that potential, and we'll see after this lap, because yeah, I've definitely racing with him in the cup. Always, sometimes a magnet for trouble, but when he does not get in trouble, he can excel. So it's gonna be interesting here on the start. And unfortunately, I did get a DM from Jake Cummings. He said he's out of the race. He's done. He had some damage, but he said he's calling it for now, and he's like saying that it was a catastrophe at the start, saying that it was no man's land. So it was tough out there for that first lap.
Absolutely. It would have been, maybe a safer play to kind of lean off the gas a little at that start. And I think we see the people that we have left in this race are definitely those that knew kind of what was coming here. But as we start to get ready to get rid of the caution car. Once again, we got Alif in that second spot, and he is not going to wait whatsoever, just slowly creeping up like a supervillain in a
Donut,
movie.
donut,
Yeah, going to lead. Again,
donut.
all eyes on Jason Wallet. How does he get this start? The nerves have to be sky high
Mhm.
to say the least here. Now, pace car, of course, going to be hopping off this time by Wallet, Alif, followed up by Evans, Davidson, or Hedesti, and Alexander Diamond find himself borderline top 5 here, it looks like. So lots of absolute fast drivers, solid drivers, and all around, to say the least. Going to be exciting in just a couple more turns.
Absolutely here, and as we get into it, we are going to start to see Alif going to try and find a good positioning here as we get
Snuggled
around
up.
to the track. He's going to want to find that overtake, and we can see the rest of the drivers kind of gearing up for it too. Hopefully we don't get any mayhem as the caution
we're
car
getting
is going to get ready to leave us. It's like when your parents leave you and your brother alone, the mayhem happens here.
Yep, here we go. Gonna probably hop along here with our Muhammad Alif as the pace car pulls off. Here comes Jason Wallet taking the green flag, and immediately
green, green.
overtake is on. He does not want to waste any time. Going to be taking the inside, and it looks like even Jason Wallet just not going to opt to use the overtake himself either. Did actually use it, but he's going to accept his fate and just let Alif through the inside and hang on to that second place position as best as possible. Of course, the one thing about these restarts is they are single file, so it is a little bit harder to get side by side with somebody immediately, but that is a nice change compared to what you see with F1, where instead of overtake, you'd get DRS. Usually after a restart, there is no DRS for a couple laps. We do see actually Zachary Lindler, our admin, trying to just clutch us up here, but
He's
the
sending
pass
it
here
in.
onto, I believe that is Esteban, or I'm not 100% sure. No, Max Hardman does manage to get past nonetheless, it looks like. But
Beautiful pass on the outside there. That was one of the most difficult spots really to make a pass there. I mean, we saw one of the cars losing that section.
Oh, here we
We're
go.
currently side by side with Nicholas Stockner here on
Well,
the
teammates.
with their teammates right now. Let's see what they're gonna do here as they head into the next hairpin. But I mean, I don't know if your teammates here. I mean, I've seen teammates in Cup, but I've never seen teammates in Super Formula. So let's see what they're gonna do here. But looks like Andrew's gonna give up the position and give Nick Stockner the way to go. But now, as you see, since Andrew slowed down, you got Charles Wembley right behind him trying to get there, but also behind Charles is Benjamin. Benjamin now going to the inside here. Is he gonna get him in this next left?
We
He's
are going to
almost
see
there.
a lot of overtake on here. Drivers getting ready. This is kind of the battle here is for this 10th spot and up, because that will give you a little bit of points to start this season. And as we get around to these S-bends again, is going to get a little bit more deadly, and the cars are going to fall kind of back in place here.
Yeah, fastest lap here now going to be going over to Cale Davidson, and that is one thing I do also want to note. Whoever gets the fastest lap in each sprint does score a point for themselves as well. So they're going to be fighting for those points any which way you can, as we do ride along here with Cale Davidson, who is currently chasing Jason Wallet hanging on and doing a fantastic job for himself. And Alif, since he's had the open road, he's just been absolutely sailing borderline 2 seconds ahead of second place as of this moment. But you see even Evans now, who initially started a little bit up front, was able to hang on to this position. A couple of names difference compared to the first sprint race, but a solid job there from him as of right now. But it is still, we're only a quarter of the way into this thing, so still lots of time for these drivers to make their moves.
Yeah, but shout out to three drivers here. We got Hunter, Alexander, Ricky. I mean, they were not there last race, but now they're up here fighting up in the top 7.
Oh, big spin!
Oh!
Andrew Burrell is out of the race right now, and he's pulled over as the cars go around him. But oh no, he's still moving.
It lives.
That's too
Hangs
soon.
on for
Frankenstein
now.
right there.
I mean, you're gonna crab walk this thing. Nope, yeah, that thing's broken. We're gonna get the replay here. We did catch the tail end of that when we saw him sideways, but what on earth happened there to Burrell from Clemson? We see some spinning from the back actually, and it is a battle here. Burrell with one of the St. Clair College cars, and it looks like a little bit of possibly a netcode side check. Little bit of a hip check is going to send Andrew Burrell to the wall, and that's just unfortunate, but the nature of online racing, to say the least.
Mhm. As we see on this bend here, Cale Davidson's slowly
Straight up with
starting
them
to
now.
pull up to Jason Walla here. He's going to look for an overtake soon. We are not going to see the lights quite yet, but he's going to be able to just make a little time there. Going to be able to pull up. He's doing a good job, but Jason Walla doing a good job defending right now as he's able to hold on to that second place.
Mikhail is throwing it really risky there. As you saw, he kind of took a lot of the curving on one of the S's there, and that car looked like it was about to turn around. So it's either how desperate is he really to try to get around them, because he knows the Leaf is pulling away. So how desperate are you to try to get around Jason here, as after the hairpin here, as we'll see who gets the better exit here and who can really take advantage here.
Absolutely. And Jason Wallet having a good exit there. He's going to be able to get a little bit of time, but he does have to worry as Cale Davidson does also stay on pace with him. We are going to see, a couple spins on that hairpin as well again in the back.
We cursed them. When we looked over to the other monitor, we saw Ricky Paz
Oh.
sideways in the hairpin. So an unfortunate moment. It looks like we do actually have the replay there of what happened to Ricky. We've seen this area be treacherous for the majority of this race. What happened this time by? Just slammed on the brakes again. He just slammed on the brakes a little bit too hard, and it just messes up the weight transfer. And you just whip that car around, and you're kind of stuck waiting for everybody to pass you.
Wheels locked up. That's what I've been saying these is that hairpin is gonna kill you. It's the most deadly place now. That's, I think, 5 drivers or 6 drivers at this point has turned around, either gassing too early or just locking the brakes. And once you got those rear tires gone, but as we see, Cale passed Jason, so now Cale is gonna be on the tack here to see if he's gonna catch up to his teammate Alif. But Jason now is in 3rd, and what is he gonna do to try to hold off Cohen Evans? So Cohen Evans is actually catching up per 10th. He was catching up by 10th every sector there. So soon enough, Cohen Evans is going to be a menace to Jason in a little while.
Absolutely, and then Evans also doesn't necessarily have to worry about anybody behind him threatening him right now. So he can strictly focus on playing offense, just gaining any sort of time that you can as we hop on over to a 3-car battle here. It's one actually going really wide. That is going to be Moody down the inside on Munoz, and is going to be successful at taking that one. And then we even have Adrian Tubakovic maybe looking to try and make the move here onto Munoz, but not quite got the speed as of this moment. But a solid job there for Lucas Moody to get into the points.
Munoz taking a couple of those turns a little wide there, hopping onto the grass and onto the sand a little bit here. And as we can see, we go back up to our leaders, Cohen Evans, now slowly starting to push up onto Jason Wall and really wants that 3rd place podium. We're going to see the overtakes come on, and that will keep them kind of in the same spot here, but Cohen Evans slowly pushing up. He's going to catch a little bit there, and he's going to look for the overtake.
I think he's gonna submit it.
Oh, okay.
Good call.
Honestly, it's early enough that you can just chill for a little bit. However, you can definitely tell that Cohen Evans was thinking about maybe making the move, as we do see that actually our Muhammad Alif did just set the fastest lap of the race. So no, he wants all the points here in this 2nd sprint race, to say the least. But
I see what Cohen Evans is doing here. Very interesting here. He twice looked for the inside, and I feel like he's trying to put the pressure on Jason, because as a driver, I know what he's doing. He's trying to give him a little fake in and fake out, because he's wanting to get Jason. Exactly, throw him a dummy. He's trying to get Jason off his throttle, is trying to get him to really, kind of rattle his cage a little bit there. So I'd say that Cohen Evans is gonna pass him soon enough, but I mean, it was really getting close there, but I feel like he's definitely trying to fake it in, and we'll see if Jason is not going to crack under pressure here and keep it together here.
Absolutely, and now we see Hunter Haddesty slowly pulling up here onto Cohen Evans, looking to take that 4th spot, and behind him, we do see Austin DeLong here, and now we got Stockner Wembley, almost finding that overtake on Stockner. Oh, it was Stockner, yes. It was in fact Stockner that did find the overtake. Quite incredible. And now they will be battling for 7th and 8th as he slowly starts to make up some time.
Yeah, that's Austin DeLong. He was defending 6th.
Yeah, I'll tell you what with Stockner. First off, the fact that he's in the top 10 right now, fantastic drive. And actually, hold on a second, we are side by side here. Cohen Evans and Haddesty, and it is going to be the pass. Or no, actually, Evans going to hang on for just a quick second here. Bring this a little bit backwards, don't mind me. But just drivers are just so close. But again, Stockner just so aggressive, to say the least. Whether it's Cup, whether it's road racing, it does not matter. And he is not afraid to make these full sends, as we actually do see a pass now coming on through. Was just inevitable. The lockup as well there from Wallet, and that is going to be Cohen Evans, who does make the pass onto Wallet.
Absolutely performing much better in this race so far. Doing a great job here in third, able to get a clean overtake there and start to put on a little bit of gain here as he does try to find Kale, but he is going to be a couple seconds just short of that second place.
I was going to say the battle for 10th is really hanging on right now because with Esteban Munoz is really kind of leading. So you see that these drivers, they're going for one position. There's no 9th or 8th. No, they're going for a 10th here. So it's much more desperate here what Esteban Munoz is going to have. But as we see, Adrian actually made the pass on Ricky Paz because before Ricky Paz was in 11th. So somehow Adrian made the pass on him. And it looks like Ricky's all over the place a little bit there.
Yeah, a little bit wobbly, to say the least. And I do want to give a shout out to Adrian Tubakovic for fighting here in this top 10, because if we look back to last season, I think he was basically like this bar, to say the least, because of being a little bit too reckless in league races. But one of these more improved drivers here, fighting in the top 10 and keeping relatively safe. We did see that little incident there with Burrow earlier, but the stewards had determined that one to be net code, so I cannot necessarily fault him for it. We do see a little bit of passing going on here. This is with Michael Tegnati, who actually, unfortunately, during the first race did wipe out. We have a possible almost 3 wide situation there. Very, very scary moment for Tegnati and Fior, but going to line up once again here. Actually, never mind. Possible dive bomb going into the chicane and is going to be successful. Fior going to be moving into 13th.
What a send-in. That was beautiful.
Absolutely great
here comes Paz.
racing. And here we go. We see, and amazing take there, as that will be Tubakovic there, or no, sorry.
Ricky Paz took 10th place right there.
Yep, Ricky Paz with the overtake, able to get past Adrian Tubakovic, and we'll have to see how desperate he wants to get to the points. Did manage to do it once last season. I was, I guess, blessed enough to kind of be like standing behind Tubakovic when he didn't score his 1 points during the last season, and that was just a feel-good moment for all of the St. Clair squad. So we know he wants to do it again, but Ricky, of course, no slouch in his own right, as we see Lucas Moody and Charles Wimbley battling it out here for. It looks like, oh, never mind. This is actually between Moody and Munoz.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
we did see Moody actually able to step up into 8th there over Munoz, and now looking to take it back here as they take this turn, and Moody gonna lose a little bit there, but we'll be able to hold it out, and we're gonna see the overtake lights come on. Munoz gonna look to try and take his spot back, but not gonna be able to find it, as Moody is also doing the same, but it's close. They both want this spot badly as they enter the second half.
Here we go.
Well, it looks like he coincided. It looks like he kind of lifted off the gas there, because I kind of saw that it was actually Charles that was, well, he wasn't using it. He was actually using his overtake. It looked like Lucas Moody wasn't really. So it's interesting to note that Charles kind of left off the gas. I think he was setting up for this turn 1, because will he send it in? I think he will. He will. He's gonna. Oh, nope. Throw him a dummy. That's what he did. He's gonna stay in 8th place, but especially in these S's, as we see that it's interesting enough that if we look at the battle for 10th back there, definitely Esteban Munoz is now pulling away. He's now a 2.5 seconds in front of Ricky Paz, and now Ricky Paz is definitely now pulling away from Adrian. So looks like the battle of 10th kind of simmered down a little bit.
Yeah, definitely quieted down in that regard there. Everybody kind of splitting up a little bit, and of course we did just kind of just crack the halfway point just a little while ago as well. We do have a car off here. Austin DeLong is going to be off into the pit, but did not take any damage. The replay is available, looks like. What happened to Austin?
Let's take a little look-see here, and as we get into it, we are going to see that Austin, as he finds this turn here. Oh, yep, gonna hop the curb and not quite make that second turn there. Going into the
save.
hairpin. Good.
Yeah, that could have been much worse. Yeah, just trying to brake onto the curbs is a skill in its own right, because you're constantly feeling every single bump, and your car does not like that in the slightest. And it's so easy to slip around here, as we are now riding along here with Esteban Munoz, who is being chased down. Ricky Paz has caught up right into this fast section. Are we going to see a dive at the chicane? We are actually going to see maybe a little bit of a side-by-side
No, he's gonna
attempt.
coincide.
Nothing nuts, no.
He hit the grass, so it looked like
Yeah.
Ricky Pass hit the grass trying to set it up, and that's what he lost speed there. So it looks like he's gonna have to try again maybe next lap because Esteban Munoz got a pretty good exit there, and turn one is not gonna be much, and he sees that he's using his overtake right now to try to get away from him.
Absolutely, and here we go. He's gonna try to get a little bit closer here and look for that pass, but we're gonna see Munoz doing a great job defensively as he is able to hold on to that lead. And as we head into turns 3 through 7, not gonna be wanting to look for that overtake too much right now. We're gonna wait for the straight after the hairpin.
So that seems so much quicker actually through those S's. Did seem a little bit of time here onto Munoz, but as you said, there's nothing you can really do until you get around this speedy section here, right into the 90-degree, and then just about under the tunnel as well. We're about 0.5 seconds away when he was able to define
I was gonna say last lap, I was clocking him in the first and second quarter. Ooh, and we got a lockup with Esteban Munoz, but he still kind of gets a good exit. I mean, Ricky Pass is a really strong sector 1 and 2, but with sector 3 here, I mean, that's where kind of Esteban Munoz kind of was able to get away and have good exit speed off for the straightaways. But ooh, definitely hit the curb, but it wasn't that bad. So but it looks like it's an overcorrection with Ricky Pass, so he's gonna lose speed here, and once again, having to rely on the push to overtake probably to really take back those lost times.
Absolutely, as he is going to start to make up a little bit of speed here going into this turn. Hopefully he does it right. He's actually going to get real close. Will he use the overtake? And he's going to decide not to commit as they do find it here, but does have a great exit coming out and making some time.
Yeah, just the power of Slipstream just doing so good there as we do hop over with Ben Fjord and Adrian Dubakovic. It's going to be Fjord diving down the inside. Dubakovic kind of stuck on the outside, is going to let this one happen, accept the fate, let the pass happen, keeping it clean, but that is going to be another position here for Fjord to maybe make a run here on this top 20 and get himself into points.
Absolutely, and it is a very big battle, especially for this 10th, 11th spot, because 11th, obviously the closest to that 10th place and the closest to getting some points here. And Adrian is going to want to make sure he fights back for that and try to retake over Fjord. But as we look at Paz, he's going to try and overtake there, but not quite get around. And as we head towards the hairpin, we'll see if he gets lucky and able to kind of catch Esteban Munoz on this turn.
I don't want to do this to him, but I feel like Ricky Paz's impatience is going to be the end of him here. He's been looking for these passes here onto Munoz time and time again, but he's making some unfortunate mistakes, whether it be on the curbs or just kind of overshooting. And that's exactly what Fjord wants. He was basically 2 seconds behind Paz, now less than a second away. 1 or 2 more mistakes like that, and just with the constant battling that Paz is doing here with Munoz, and Fjord will be making this a 3-way battle from top down.
Yeah, and while we have a problem with netcode, because it looks like
And he's gone.
And he's gone. So unfortunately, the upload packet loss has struck again.
Oh, that wasn't a netcode. That was a disqualification. So Munoz is out of here.
What for?
It says he has 2 strikes so far. Yes, so he was disqualified there. He got a 10 seconds plus a strike. It looks like he did cause a collision at a certain point. So unfortunately, there he goes. Munoz is out. Ricky Paz is going to move up to 9th, putting to
what happened?
Yeah, exactly. And we've got a
people need to know. People must know.
Yeah. So as we were just trying to figure out what in the world just happened to Esteban Munoz, in theory, then P10 would have went over to Fjord, but now Fjord is like in 13th right now, and Adrian Tubakovic is now being shown, was shown in the top 10. So a little bit of an odd kerfuffle while all of that was going down. It just all happening at once, I guess, to say the least here.
Yep. And here we go. The leader, kind of no
Sunday
shocker
drive.
here. Yep. He's just
Sunday
chilling,
drive.
taking the scenic route. You know, he's got a nice 12-second lead on Cale Davidson there, and he will be entering the next lap here and just cruising.
He sneaks another fastest lap on that as well. So it's not even that I'm calling it a Sunday drive as if he's just cruising, but no, he's basically playing high scores for himself here. Fastest lap challenges, as we just ride along and just see how dang
Oh.
smooth our Muhammad Ali is through these areas. And I was kind of talking to Jordan a little bit prior to the broadcast about how these S's, if you're not confident in them, you'll see quite the speed difference. This is exactly what it looks like when someone is just that confident,
Yep.
that well rehearsed, that well practiced, that comfortable in the car that you don't have to worry about slowing down too much. Hit a curve? Nope, I did that on purpose, and just flying around every one of these turns.
I was
Absolutely. And
gonna
just
say, it was
go
just a quick note that the rear tires, I barely hear them ever squeal. I mean, the way that he's smooth turning, it's, yeah, literally just like Verstappen. The way that he's just, especially through the S's, I was noting how he was really making his steering inputs, and I barely just see him try to overcorrect or stuff like that. So it's really just smooth sailing here, and it's impressive. I gotta say, this man is really just set sailing, and just it's really impressive, I gotta say. But now Cale Davison, I mean, he's definitely in second place, so he's right there. But Cohen Evans, of course, kind of pulling away too, because I've been watching that Cale Davison is getting him at least a tenth or two every lap. So I'd say first top two with Ball State University. I mean, they're pulling away.
Absolutely, and I think a very important thing to note here as we take a look is this battle right here, Cohen Evans and Jason Wallet, just over a second apart here. Jason Wallet slowly looking to catch up as we're in our final quarter of the race, 5 laps to go. This, once again, is where everything matters, and this is our second and final race of the night, so this is the last chance to grab as many points as they can.
Yeah, and I was gonna say Jason was gaining him in the middle sector there. He gained 3/10, and so we're gonna see if he's gonna do the S's better, because something is happening with Cole Evans. He's losing a little bit of speed, so don't know if the tires are getting killed right now. Maybe Jason saved them up, but yeah, with 5 laps to go, we'll see who's gonna prevail.
And I want to throw this out there compared to a lot of the other esports that I know, like at least Jordan and I have commentated. There's one big difference between a lot of these esports. We're not on a controller. We're not on
Yep.
keyboard. True physical exhaustion is definitely something that can actually take part here. And yes, we had the little bit of the break here between race 1 and 2, but that's 5 minutes to go chug a water real fast and get back out there because you got some more reps to do. These drivers are tired. All of those apexes, all those curbs, and all of those bumps start to feel a little bit more sore the longer this night goes on. So just a big shout out to all the drivers hanging in there. And you can even see like sometimes some actual time
I
drop
was gonna
off.
and I was gonna say Zach Linder is in the pit, so
Oh no.
unfortunate night for him. But I was gonna quickly say that to add on to what you said about like these road races. I mean, listen, I'm a big oval guy. We turn left. That's basically a right, unless for the clash if you count that, right? So
That's so
I'd
exhausting
say
too though.
it is exhausting, I guess, because obviously with oval, I mean every left turn we take. Oh, and we got a crash right now. Esteban Munoz,
Oh
we
boy.
heard, is
I see someone
wrecked.
sideways, and it looks like we do have a replay on it coming up in just a moment's time. If that was Munoz, then that was a driver within the top 10. Just okay,
Oh,
so that's
Luis
Yeah.
actually
Diaz.
who,
Yeah, Munoz was disqualified.
right. That's true. Um, yeah, sorry
Looks
about
like
that. But
his wheel just shut off or something, cause.
that is another factor. Maybe your gear could get tired too.
Oh.
My goodness.
Yeah, looks like the wheel. Yeah, that looked like a classic wheel disconnection because you're turning left or turning right, but the tires lock up immediately. Because when your wheel disconnects, it always gonna go on the brakes, especially in the sim. So it looks like a tough break for him if that's what the case was.
I was fighting around that top 10 area too. I think it was about like 13th or 14th. So definitely a heartbreaker to have it end that way. But with 4 to go, Alif is off in Narnia. He is just sitting pretty to say the least. Cale Davidson, of course, still sitting in second place. Cohen Evans in third place, rounding up your podium. But of
Looks
course,
like he's pulling away from Jason Wally here. He took away at least 4/10 this first lap, this lap actually. So looks like Jason Wallen's losing a little bit of pace, and now he's gonna probably fall under Hunter, because Hunter looks like he was also kind of on pace too. So it'll be interesting.
that was one of the other things I actually wanted to mention. Like we do with, as we see Cohen Evans pulling away, we did see Jason Wallet catching up, but how much of that was overtake usage compared to no overtake usage? Like Jason Wallet probably would have been able to get in striking distance and keep himself in the draft, but was Evans using overtake? I don't think as much. Maybe seeing it a little bit now because we're getting to the end of the race and you want to make sure that you use it. But back then, probably not.
Absolutely. And, you know, as we can see here, Jason Wallet slowly losing speed, now just over 2 seconds behind. And again, like you said, Edward, falling closer to Hunter here as he's going to look to try and take a 4th place spot away from Jason Wallet and try to get ever so closer to that podium.
So it's 3 seconds though, so he's not doing too bad to say the
Yeah,
least.
but
That 4th place could be good, but what were we gonna say?
yeah, Lucas Moody looks like he's gonna actually get close to Hunter because I just saw that Hunter kind of lost a little bit of pace there. He lost almost more than half a tenth in that first sector, so something happened in the S's there, and now he's falling under Lucas Moody right now. So Lucas Moody might have him.
We got a little bit of lap traffic coming up here for Jason Wallet as well. It's gonna be St. Clair's Alan Hong following a lap down. I think got caught up in that first lap shenanigans. Still hanging around at 16th though, so a solid salvage effort, but gonna just opt to get out of the way because of course that was not a pass for position. Fair enough in that regard. But with 3 more to go here, where is the battle? I'm curious as to what's happening with the 10th area. Where in that points the say the least.
I believe it's
Currently
already
being
locked.
held up
It's
at
locked in right now because it's really spread apart right now with 10th place right now. Ricky Pass is 9th with Adrian.
Oh
Oh,
boy.
never
Oh
mind.
no.
Austin DeLong off the track. He was in 8th place. We're gonna get a quick replay here.
And here we go. Let's take a look at what happened to Austin just now as he goes into this turn. And
Oh
yep.
no.
Quick on the tires. Like I said, the rears just slip, and that's always a big sport ender right there. Right now, he's out of the points. Who knows? Never say never. These 2 laps, anything can happen. Right now, Lucas Moody is looking at Hunter right now, going through the S's. So Lucas Moody just gained another second on Hunter. So I could imagine potential, maybe next lap, probably turn 1, could be sending.
It's now or it's then or never to say the least. Like 0.5 behind with a couple of extra points in the bag there. And a heartbreaker, of course, for Austin DeLong. We've seen time and time again tonight that turn right before that fast, like not a straightaway, but the full throttle section. So many people get on the gas maybe just a touch too soon, and they put themselves around. We've seen it with DeLong. We've seen it with a couple people throughout the night. And
But that means Mark Turek is now in 10th place. He's in the points now to get points. I mean, so,
Okay.
you know, when a door closes on somebody, a door opens on someone else. So I bet Mark Turek is right now really throwing his hands up and exciting because if that's the break that you got to get, it's the break you're going to get. But now Lucas Moody's looking at Hunter right now, and he's used the overtake right now. Looks like Hunter's not, but Lucas is, so he's going to gain here. Will he get there?
He's going to look to overtake as we get into the final couple turns here of this lap. And as we can see, we are approaching the final lap. Oh,
he ate the curb, but he's going to have a better exit here because now Hunter went really wide here. So Lucas Moody, will he make the turn 1 here?
Yeah, last lap to try and get the job done here for Moody and Haddisty. Can he defend? We see the overtakes. That light is blinking. They are using everything they have left here, going through the S's in just a moment's time. Can they manage to get to the run? Can Lucas Moody rather manage to get the run and just continue to find Ball State University driver over and over again into these top 5s and podium positions? But a little bit of a distance separates, currently half a second.
And I'm very impressive with Hunter because you see that he used his overtake as down into turn 1. In the last straightaway, he didn't use it because he thought that he had enough time to get against Lucas Moody. So you can see that Hunter is strategically using his push to overtake in right places. Right there, as you see, he's using it for the exit to really try to get away. So as to not let him get the slipstream as much. But
oh boy,
as he gets wide here, Lucas Moody looking on the inside, he's gonna get him right now. But now Hunter, I know he's pushing that overtake right now. He's praying right now that he's not gonna get him there. He's trying to get out of his way to not get him the slipstream. But Lucas Moody is there. Will he get him?
As we do very, very quickly, of course, want to hop on over to our Muhammad Alif as he does successfully sweep the season opener here for the Collegiate iRacing League Formula College. A perfect showing, to say the least. To say the least. Did I do it again? To say the least. But this is the battle, closest battle on track between Moody and Haddisty. Still just a couple. Oh my God, that lockup was so close, but the aggression is not going to come through. Haddisty, successful defense to keep himself in the top 5.
And as we finish up here, we're going to see Moody come in at 6, Charles
This is the battle for points.
Wembley coming in at 7. Here we go. This is it. These three here fighting for some points. Mark Turk in 9th here. And he is going to
Side by side.
come into
Benjamin's
this
gonna look at the inside.
turn, and
Benjamin
there we
sets it
go.
in. Oh, I would not be happy with Adrian. Adrian just went out from 9th to 11th. Looks like Benjamin's he's gonna finalize out with the points. Mark Turek in 9th, Benjamin in 10th, and Adrian unfortunately in 11th.
Beautiful move to say the least there for those drivers. Good on Mark to get himself into 9th, and then Fior fighting way till the end, and DeLong is, oh no. Reverse it?
No,
no.
he's not gonna get to the line.
No.
Austin DeLong wrecked before the line. I thought it was out of pure frustration, but looks like he just. Oh no, he's reversing
crawling,
right now.
Go.
Will he get there? Did he get there in
goodness.
time? I think he did. Yes, he finished
12, he got
P12.
12.
So he
Oh
did
my-
not lose or gain a position, but that was a close one right there. I generally thought that he crossed the line and he was just out of frustration, but looks like he genuinely just lost it there.
That is interesting to say the least, because that was well onto the straightaway at that point. But nonetheless, we are going to see our final results once again after a fantastic showing yet again from our last season champion, our Muhammad Alif, going to be taking first place, followed up once again by his teammate Cale Davidson, both of course Ball State University drivers. Then Cohen Evans getting a fantastic run here in race number 2. And then Jason Wallet, after starting first after the reverse, cashes in. The bad luck is gone. No shenanigans. Just absolutely clutches up with a 4th place finish here. And then also followed up by Hunter Haddisty. And why don't Jordan you take it from Moody on here for a bit?
Absolutely, and right behind Haddisty was Lucas Moody, who battled hard throughout this race, but couldn't quite find that 5th, followed by Charles Wembley and Ricky Paz, who had a great race here today, and Mark Turek right behind him. And then in our 10th and final spot, Benjamin Fior closing
Well
out.
Yes. Absolutely well fought there for Fior to get into that 10th place position. Just coming up short, of course, from scoring into the points for what would have been his 2nd time ever, of course. Going to be Adrian Tubakovic from St. Clair College. Then Austin DeLong, literally crab walking that thing across the line. Maybe only had 2 tires left from Penn College, but
that was a McQueen blew a tire situation there.
That's
I
exactly
was waiting
what
for the
thinking.
driver to hop out and start running across the line like Talladega Nights this thing.
Yeah.
But makes it work nonetheless. Max Hartman going to be in 13th, also followed up by Tyler Klingensmith, and then Alan Hong from St. Clair College, of course, 2 laps down, but still made a solid salvage job after basically getting taken down in the first lap. Luis Diaz, of course, had the equipment failure, but still manages to snag the 16th position spot. Michael Tagnati in a much better showing here compared to race number 1. Going to be halfway up the field there in 17th. And then Nicholas Stockner from Clemson, of course, in 18th.
Absolutely. And then we see Alexander Diamond there in 19th. Andrew Burrell right behind him in 20th. And going into the last couple of racers here, we see Bradley Skinker having a much rougher second showing here. Right back there. Zachary Lindler, and then Jake Cummings, Philippe de Rosier, who also kind of had an interesting little bit of a race, followed by Aiken Lamar. Just behind him is Clint Halterman, Andrew Williams, Esteban Munoz, who was disqualified, Athena Leclerc, and Nicholas Daly to round it out.
It just goes to show the chaos that we see with the 2 sprint races, the mindset shift that kind of comes between those 2 races, and then the effect that the reverse top 10, or the invert rather, can take on the race. It makes for some extremely exciting racing, of course, but it also makes it so that those drivers that normally would qualify, get up top, and then not necessarily sit pretty, but put themselves in a fantastic situation. They kind of have to fight a little bit. And sometimes you just happen to get collected in someone else's shenanigans, or you get a little bit over aggressive knowing that you can push that much harder, and just so different, so difficult to say the least.
Absolutely. And we do have a very special interview today, post race. So we will get on with that.
Absolutely. All right, so why don't we get, I believe it's our top three. So
Mhm,
why don't we talk to Evans to start things off with?
mhm.
All right, so of course, who Cohen Evans, who finished P3 in race number 2, a fantastic second race there. Evans, um, first off, how's it feel to make the podium?
It feels great. It's a new car for me, so I was taking it super easy that entire night, but it feels super good, just get one under the belt.
Absolutely. Incredible first race there, kind of coming back and slipping into that 10th spot, I believe.
Mhm.
What was going through your mind kind of post spin out there and kind of pushing back?
Just take it easy. I was pushing a little harder than I needed to right there. Just I know a lot of people are gonna spin out, so just taking it easy, just trying to do that and just lock the brakes up, trying to avoid rear-ending somebody, and it spun me out. It's all good.
Mhm,
I mean, we'll still definitely give you credit though, even though the spin out did happen. Like you took your time through it and like was able to climb yourself out, I believe, into the points still. So
mhm.
a fantastic salvage run in that regard. Now, Edward, go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to quickly ask. I mean, first of all, congratulations on third place. Hard earned right there. Now, my question is really, I saw that you passed Jason Wallet. Now, I saw that he was also gaining a little bit. Like, was there any hiccups there? Like, did you feel a lot of pressure being from Jason Wallet, or did you feel like I passed him? It's all good now.
I passed him, and I thought I was gonna run away. I was a little surprised he's able to keep up, but I think he was able to just gain because he was using push to pass. I kind of stopped using it there for a little bit, try and save it, and I think he gained, maybe a second or two off that. But towards the end of the race, I, wanted to use up all the push to pass, and I was able to stretch out that lead. So I wasn't too worried about it because I was figured it's just push to pass.
Hey, you absolutely made it work and fantastic job and congratulations once again. Is there anybody at home or anybody you want to shout out for before we move on for tonight?
Shout out my mom and dad for
Let's go.
supporting me. You know, couldn't do it without them.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And once again, going congratulations on your podium here tonight.
Thank you.
And we will move on here onto our next interviewee. I guess we'll work our way up. So we'll take second place here. Kale Davidson was also from Ball State University here. Second place, we got Kale.
All right. Hello. Welcome, Kale. Congratulations once again on your two podiums here tonight on the season opener. How does it feel to start off, I guess, so dominantly, to say the least, here, getting those two second places?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it feels pretty good. I came in kind of like a little nervous because obviously the clash went well last week. Obviously got podiums there, but with this one being the first points race, obviously there's a lot more on the line. So I kind of came in. I was a lot more nervous than I was with the clash because we kind of use that as like a baseline. Like, okay, get keybind set up, like get launch stuff, like basically get this new car. And so then today, like the pressure was on more, but then kind of once I got a good pace going, once I got into a rhythm, it felt pretty good.
Sounds good. And, congratulations on those two podium wins. Coming in with, four drivers from Ball State University. Obviously, I'm sure you guys are very close over there. What's the mentality like all around from the team kind of going into the season opener?
I'd say the mentality all around is we obviously we have goals, we set goals, we do individual and we do group goals. So we kind of know what our expectations are and what we need to exceed to do that. But then we also push each other. Like we'll do multiple practice sessions together. We'll definitely do some stupid stuff like send dive bombs on corners that you probably wouldn't want to dive bomb in. But we kind of use that, even though we're having fun doing those stupid things. We are still learning the tracks and we're still learning what works. We're learning what doesn't work, what to do and what not to do. So
Well, it was definitely successful. And Edward, go for it.
Yeah, I mean, great driving. I mean, definitely was enjoying the view. Did you ever felt that you were catching up with the leap, or were you like just saying, you know what, I'm a chill in second place?
yeah, so um obviously Alif, he's on a whole different level, especially at this track. Um, I think qualifying, he was about a second ahead of all of us, so that was just insane. But coming into the race, basically, you can kind of look at what happened. If you can keep a clean race and you can keep it consistent, that really rewards you on this track. So I didn't necessarily want to over push myself to try to catch that gap to a leaf. I obviously didn't want him to pull away super far, but I was more focusing on staying consistent and making sure I can keep the car on track to get a good finish.
I mean, fair enough. And one thing I gotta say is, if this is how you are when driving nervous, I am afraid to see what it looks like when you're confident. So, once again, congratulations on your 2 second places. And I also hope that a Ball State 1-2 was one of your group goals. Fantastic job for you and the team. Is there anybody you want to shout out before we call it a night here?
Yeah, obviously I want to shout out my teammates. We did this in Formula C last year. We want to try to do it again. We want to get a Ball State 1, 2, 3, 4. So
Incredible.
that's one goal we want to get. Obviously, we want to thank Bradley, Lucas, Alif, and then our NASCAR team, and then Dan Marino and BK, kind of our esports directors. And then also want to shout out Indy Hood Rats for basically sponsoring my new rig. So that's why you can see that new name on the car. And shout out to my mom and dad. That's all.
Very, very nice. Thank you once again, Kale. And congratulations once again.
Thank you.
All right, last but not least, the driver who basically dominated this entire night. First place in both races with at least 15 seconds plus of lead. We're going to get our Muhammad Alif. All right, welcome, our Muhammad Alif. Congratulations on your 2 victories here. Absolutely putting on a clinic here at Suzuka. With a performance like that, how are you feeling?
Thank you. Yeah, feels great. Almost perfect race, I'd say. I'm just really happy with how it all panned out, and yeah, just trying to push my teammates to get the result that Kill was talking about.
Absolutely. And watching those two races, you can tell the confidence is there. But even, for a driver like you, what's something that you kind of keep in the back of the mind always while you're driving? Just maybe whether it's a little precautionary thing or just something to keep you focused.
I think it's just the fact that I gotta or everyone has to understand the car's capabilities and the limits. Like for an example, it's like through spoon, the rear end's always moving around, right? So
Mhm.
you can't be leaning on the rear end too much. If not, you'll just lose the car. So I had to always keep that margin on my race pace. Obviously, quali is all hell breaks loose, and the last lap, I guess. So I think that's one of the things, just managing the tires, because high speed tracks like this just wear out the tires just that much more. So it makes it a different challenge in itself compared to the Raw, which was a more tighter track in Okayama. So yeah, I'd say that's something that I personally would or I generally keep in mind, just to keep that the gap, I think, in driving. And then other than that is just managing the pace, managing the gap, and then or managing the overtake.
Absolutely. Edward pointed out that your just control all around was incredible. So I'll throw it over to him for a final question here.
Yeah, I mean, hey man, biggest compliment. I mean, it was an incredible drive to you fly off. Like, I mean, I've raced with Noble. You see, it's really hard to get away with a more than 20
Yeah.
second lead. So that was insane, man. So props to you for that. But I
Thank you.
guess, like while you were, skibbity skedaddling off into the sunset, I gotta ask, was there a moment where you were just like, I'm gonna take it nice and slow, because you were hitting fast laps? I think it was like between lap 8 to lap 12 or 14. Like you were hitting fast lap after fast lap, and I get the fuel go down,
Hmm.
but like to maintain that consistency, like were you pushing like at least every lap? Were you like going fast? Like were you trying to go faster, or were just like, I got this, and you were just on autopilot and cruising? How was it for you?
I think for me it's just like I could use this as a learning, where I try to push myself and see where the limit of the car is, because it's a long season, right? So anyone can really catch up and take the fight to me. So I was just trying to push the car, see where the limit was. Around the Suzuka is just amazing to drive. So naturally, that just made me want to push more, just to see the lap time just tumble down. If not, it would have been a bit too. If I just decided to just lean back, I think the mistakes kind of creep out there. I don't know if you guys heard about how Ed and Senna kind of described it, when he's like on the limit, he doesn't make mistakes, but when he just leans back and takes a breather, he tends to make more mistakes. So it's the same thing here in sim racing, I'd say. And I think if you ask any driver out there, they probably answer the same way. It's better to just stay on the limit or stay close to the limit than to just hang back, because anything can happen, lap cars. So it's always good to keep that margin to P2. And yeah, that's basically my thinking process going into these races.
Well, fair enough. And with all the pressure of league racing and being in the lead, you make it look absolutely like effortless.
Thank
So
you.
once again, congratulations on your victories. Is basically picking up from last semester, because you were, of course, the champion from last semester. And honestly, keep driving like that. We'll probably see you with the trophy again at the end of the year.
Thank you. Hopefully, I'll keep working hard.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Is there anybody you want to shout out before we let you go for tonight?
Yeah, definitely my teammates, Lucas, Kale, Bradley, who the other two had an unfortunate race with incidents, but they did a phenomenal job, I think, leading up to the race, because it's a completely different car for them as well. I tend to enjoy these like high speed cars more really than the slower speed cars. So yeah, to them, to our oval team, Daniel, who's our new driver, Daniel Lenny, who scored a student win last night. Sorry, Monday night. So props to him. Ben, Kelton, Andrew, and also our esports directors, Dan Marino and Brandon. So yeah, and to them, to Dean Turner, to my family back in Singapore, and to all my friends who are watching this.
Awesome. And again, thank you so much for joining us here in the booth. And one more time, congratulations on your victories tonight.
Thanks, guys. Cheers. Have a good night.
Take care. Well, that basically wraps things up here. We got to talk to our podium, and just seems like Ball State. I know we've said it time and time again here, but it's just because it's that much of a big deal. They're just picking up where they left off from last semester. Some fantastic drives, but also some fantastic drives from some other drivers as well. But for Jordan and Edward, of course, thank you for joining me here on the commentary desk. I believe it was both of your first times in regards to iRacing. So how does it feel to get one under your belt?
Well, thank you so much for having me on. This has been such a great experience, especially doing something as crazy as a season opener here and on Suzuka of all tracks too. So it was a great experience, and I'm so glad that I got the chance to work alongside you too.
Awesome. And then Edward, how'd it feeling?
What an honor. I mean, it was amazing. I mean, the racing was crazy. I mean, listen, as an Ovo driver, you go 5 wide, 6 wide, whatever. But these guys, they were putting at the limit. And as you said, got to give props to these road drivers because you're putting yourself at the limit. Like Alif said, he wasn't just sleeping, he was finding the limit. And he kept going and going and further. Every curb, every breaking point was on point. So that was amazing. And I barely look back and watch these races, so this is actually the first time I've ever commentated in any form or factor. So thank you so much for having me. It was great and looking forward for more races.
Okay, both of you did absolutely fantastic, and thank you once again for joining. And I do want to give a big shout out, of course, to Keith and to Christian, our producers here for CIL, for putting on this show night after night. Definitely keeps busy. To our racing stewards as well. It wasn't the busiest night, but it absolutely still had to keep them busy at least a little bit. And we still aren't quite done in regards to action for the week. Something brand new to the CIL for this semester, or for the season rather, is the prototypes, which is another like road racing series. But these things are absolutely ridiculous. It's not an open wheel card, but they are still very, very exciting to watch. We will see a lot of these drivers returning, probably majority of these drivers actually returning for another clean slate, another season opener at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway's road course, which is a tricky one in itself. I tell you what, this schedule did not start you off easy between Suzuka and Indianapolis, but that just means that there's that much more room for making mistakes, that much more chance for excitement and passing, and an awesome viewing experience. And lastly, of course, once we're done on Thursday, we're going to start things back up for the Cup Series on Monday, going to be returning at 9 o'clock as well. I'm trying to remember the track off the top of my head, but I'm starting to lose it. But can't remember. Bingo. a fan favorite, of course. How can I
Yes.
forget Charlotte? So that is where we're going to be going, to say at least for the second race. Will be a fun one for sure. Lots of action. Basically, every single week you get 3 of these races. So if you've not done so already, make sure you are subscribed here on the CIL YouTube channel to make sure you get the notifications for when we do go live. Any final words before we close out tonight?
Well, again, thank you to everybody out there watching. Thank you to the people behind the scenes here. Had a great time, and also, obviously, huge shout out to the drivers who did a great job today for the season opener.
Any final
Yeah,
thoughts?
yeah, no, big shout out to our producer and the lovely band, Keith. Thank you so much for being, basically powering this thing and making this a reality. But also great working with Dan, Jordan. Y'all were amazing. I hope I did all right for my first time, and yeah, I mean, thank you guys for the fans and the audience. Like I said, I was looking at the chat. The chat was going crazy. People were saying, "Come on, Burner, let's go, Mr. Danners, crawl to the line, DeLong." I mean, y'all were
There
that
were
one
some
was a
awesome
funny one.
moments, absolutely.
Yeah, so thank you all for tuning in, and yeah, like our lovely commentator said, please stay tuned for tomorrow. Our new series is just starting, so that's gonna be amazing. And yeah.
All right. So, with that being said, we shall close it off for tonight. Once again, thank you all for tuning in, and we will see you tomorrow for some prototype debuts.